Hi everyone, how's it going? Clifton here with another video. If you're watching this video, it's because you've been researching the Sony A7 IV. You may be a Sony A7 III owner, which is what I am, and you're wondering, is this new camera worth it? Should I get it? If you've already bought it, you're probably still wondering that. Did I make the right decision? Well, hopefully I'm going to answer some of those questions for you. Again, I mentioned that I'm a Sony A7 III owner, so I'm going to bring you my perspective on this. I have talked about the Sony A7 III in a couple of other videos, things that I don't like about it, why I went for that camera, and you might want to check those videos out after. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got a spreadsheet to compare the Sony A7 III with the 4. We've got some ways that both cameras are the same, some ways that the 3 is better than the 4, a lot of ways that the 4 is better than the 3, and we're just going to go through all of them. First, I've got some bullet points here of what the 4 brings to the table. A couple of those things include the menu system, a new multi-selector button on there, which is greatly improved over the current one that's on this camera here, the Sony A7 III. We've got the larger camera body and grip, top buttons, which allows for a lot more customization. There's the dust protection feature that they've got where the shutter closes whenever you take off a lens, put on another lens. It's supposed to help protect the sensor from dust. And then we've got this full-size Hdmi port, something that many of the cameras have been missing in the past. So this one here, the 3, does have the mini HDMI. We've got 4K 60, although cropped. There is a new thing called focus breathing compensation. I like that idea a lot. If I was to do more video, it'd be a lot more applicable. Focus breathing is where your camera will sort of zoom in and out whenever it's trying to focus on something. It can be a little disorienting, especially with a prime lens. You don't want it to zoom, and that little compensation feature is quite nice, although you could do it in post. We've got the new raw lossless compression, and then Wi-Fi tethering for me is something I was surprised the Sony A7 III doesn't have, that the 4 does. Now, Wi-Fi tethering allows you to have a wireless connection to your computer so that you can take photos, let's say on a shoot, and then those photos will instantly show up on your computer so that you can review them. Let's say the model or the person you're working with wants to see those photos on a nice big large screen. Well, with the newer cameras like the 4, you can do that with this Wi-Fi tethering thing. On this camera here, older cameras like this one, you have to have a cable connected from your camera to your computer. Wi-Fi as well can be quite slow just transferring those photos. I've got some other details here in a spreadsheet, so let's look through those, in which both cameras are the same. We've got the same battery. The battery, it's a pretty decent battery. You get a lot of life out of it. In terms of frames per second, you're going to take up to 10 mechanical electronic shutter in both cameras, so decent speed. The shutter speeds, they're the same. We're going from 30 seconds all the way to 1/8000th of a second. And the ISO is the same, so we're going from 1000 to 3200 natively, or you can expand that to much more, although I don't recommend doing that. Now, ways in which the Sony A7 III is better, we've got the price, a lot cheaper. I could have bought another camera or lenses for the price of the A7 IV at the moment. So that may be a big factor for yourself. We've got the weight. The 3 is a little bit lighter than the 4, 8 grams. It's not much, but it's still lighter. And we've also got the battery life. It's going to take more photos versus the 4. You probably want to get a spare battery anyway. So there we go. There's the 3 ways in which the 3 is better than the 4. The big one is the price. You're still getting a lot of bang for your buck. And we're going to go over some of the ways that it is better than the 3. And some of those, which I have already mentioned, Wi-Fi tethering could be enough for you to say, wow, okay, I'm going to get the 4. I'm not even going to bother with the 3. All right, so dimensions. The camera body is bigger on the 4. Not by much, but still bigger. We've got an extra 6mm. I think that's in the height. The width is a little bit bigger. I think 4mm. So very tiny ways in which it's bigger, but it's still bigger. And that's been a thing for me, as the Sony cameras have always felt too small. I've gotten used to using this one here. My pinky, my little finger does slip off the bottom. It's underneath the camera here. GH5 has a much better design to it. It feels good in hand. Most Canon cameras, I've talked about this in one of my other videos, Sony has ways to go still before they catch up to the other guys, and the camera body dimension is one thing I think they should work on. Bigger camera bodies, please. Just do it, Sony. Okay, all right. So I've got the dual card slots. This one here, the 3, does support UHS 1 and 2, although 2 is only in card slot 1. They have a similar thing with the new camera, the 4, in which card slot 1 supports the new CF Express Type A type card in card slot 1, and then I think in both of those slots it supports UHS 1 and 2. In other words, since I only have UHS 1 cards, I'm fine with both cameras. It doesn't really affect me. I'm sure the Type A cards are going to be the way of the future. All right, moving on. We have the megapixels. So we're going from 24 megapixels of the 3 to 33 megapixels of the 4. I've done some comparisons. I really couldn't see that much from out wide, but as soon as you zoom in, the 4 images do look sharper to me. So I got the maximum resolution overall bigger, and as a result, when you're in APS-C mode, it's also going to be bigger, something that I didn't really think about. Very minor update on the LCD. I think they could have done more with that. One personal gripe for me was how dim it is in bright sunlight. I don't know if that has changed with the new camera. People haven't really talked about it. So I'll find out when I have some demo time. I'll let you know. So the EVF has also increased a bit. Autofocus scene points. Got a lot of those. We're going from 693 of the 3 to 759 for the 4. So more focus points means you could focus more. So there you go. There's a comparison of the two cameras. What do you think? Is it worth it? Is the 4 worth getting over the 3? If I could afford it, I would get it for sure. If you can afford the new one, great, awesome. I am very envious of you. I think it's just missing 1 or 2 things to would have made it like the best camera ever. But the Wi-Fi tethering for me is one thing that would have been nice to have on this current camera that I've got. I'd like to know your thoughts. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Catch you later. Yeah, detail, sharpness looks a lot nicer. It's supposed to have more dynamic range as well. I think we're really going to get that out of this logo. Here's the 75 closer.